Crash Bandicoot!
Hi, this is a Yesterday's Moose production, and today I'm going to be reviewing this game. And if it's not obvious what this game is, I'll let the title screen tell you. It is Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy for Xbox One. Originally, this was released also for the PlayStation 4. It has recently been released on the Nintendo Switch, and it includes 3 games: Crash Bandicoot,
It's Crash Bandicoot 2! Cortex strikes back!
like he said, Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back, and Part 3, Warped.
It's Crash Bandicoot Warped!
Now, all 3 of these games have received significant updates from the original versions that were released for the PlayStation in the late 90s and early 2000s. I will go ahead and just continue my game here, and I'll show off some of the beginning stages. You'll get to see a bit of the end here. I have to travel all the way back. Now, while this is happening, I'll just give you a bit of full disclosure. When these games first came out, I did not have a PlayStation. I had a Nintendo 64, so I did not play these games back then. I may have played a few demos, but not the full game. So in a sense, playing these games now was a blind playthrough. And I will comment a little bit about each game and give each game a rating. I'll go into level 1, Insanity Beach. The objective of these games, I guess, is to save the female Bandicoot, as far as I can tell. And the big bad guy is Dr. Neo Cortex, who, according to the internet, was originally voiced by Clancy Jones, who did a bit of voice work in SpongeBob SquarePants. He was also in Starship Troopers, and he was also in, what's that movie? Right, Highlander, that's what it's called. Now, these games originally were very boxy, no pun intended. I think that they just capitalized on the boxy graphics to get things established. And you collect apples in this. It's not a requirement, but much like the coins in Super Mario Brothers, you get 100 apples and they will give you a extra life. The Aku Aku masks are basically your protection from getting hit. And you generally have 3 types of stages. You have ones like this where generally you run away from the screen or into the screen, however you want to call it, like this, run into the screen. And there are also levels where you run away from the screen. I'm not going to get all of these boxes, I just don't want to fall down the hole accidentally. And there's also 2.5D sections where you're going left to right or right to left. And I will say that even though these games have been updated, there is a little bit of a drawback to those 2.5D areas. Let's see if I can find one here. It might be this one, 2.5D area. The drawback is that you still can move forward and backwards. So it is possible to accidentally walk off the edge of a level. And also to miss platforms if you're not perfectly lined up. You can miss platforms, which I've discovered, so you have to kind of make sure that Crash is located in the middle of the platforms, I guess you'd call it. Another thing is that in these games, you still have the same view that you would have had back in the day when this first came out, so you're stuck with a particular view of the game. Purists may not have liked it, but I would have liked to have seen the option of moving the camera. If that had been an option, that would have been great. Also, you cannot alter the buttons. You can't decide which button you want to do what, so you're stuck with the default configuration. Another thing that's worth mentioning is that the graphics probably could have been pushed a little bit further than they have been. I feel that the character models could have been a little bit more detailed, perhaps a little bit more cartoony, perhaps Crash Bandicoot could have had more obvious fur. He does have fur, but it's very hard to see. You have to move him very close to the camera, which is not easy to do. And there we go. That's the end of that level. And one of the objectives is to get all of the boxes in the level. If you miss the boxes, they'll fall on Crash's head. If you progress far enough to, I think it was here, this point here, you can change to Coco. I'm not sure if that was part of the original game or not. I think that she was a part of the sequel, but not part of the first game. So you can play as her. I like the option of having another character to play as. It's nice to not have to be forced to play as Crash Bandicoot for all of the levels. Platforming in these games, just like the original game, is a little bit tricky because you have to rely on the character's shadow to give you a sense of where you're going to land. So you have to get used to the fact that you're going to have to track your shadow. I'm not sure if I'm going to go through this entire level here, but I just wanted to show off a bit of the game. Oh no, okay. I want to get to a level where I'm running towards the screen. Unfortunately, I don't remember which level that is. Maybe it's this one, Boulders? It might be. Yes, okay, good, good. So here I am running towards the screen. running towards the screen can be a little bit tricky because you don't have a lot of warning for the pits that you can fall into. Platforming can be quite difficult. Also, obstacles come up very quickly, so you have to be paying attention at all times. As I've been playing this game, I've gotten more used to the idea of running towards the screen, so I've gotten a lot better. When I first faced these levels, I was not doing very well at all. After this level, I'm going to go to the next game. Oh no! There was the end of the level. Okay, well, I almost made it. I shall quit out of here. Or not. Quit. Thank you. So the loading screens take a little while, but they do give you hints for each game. So that's nice. Having never really played the original Crash Bandicoot, I will give this this game out of 10 moose. I shall give it 8.5 moose out of 10. Reason is because the graphics are good enough. I find that the gameplay is very addictive, and you got a variety of different things to do, and that's all I pretty much have to say about this one. Let's go on to Crash Bandicoot 2 and play a few levels of that. I will mention at this point that all of my reviews up to this point and probably in the future will be unscripted unless I can write a good script. I was trying to write a script for this episode or this review. However, I gave up halfway through and decided I'm just going to go and do an unscripted review because I want to try to get this out as quickly as possible. Hopefully by tomorrow. We'll see. I've progressed pretty far in this game, so I'm going to go back to the beginning. I'll play one of the introduction levels. In this game, I guess you're working with Dr. Neo Cortex and his minion from the previous game. They're competing. Something about gems and crystals. I'm a little bit unsure about the story. I could have looked all of these things up. In this game you got a few new moves. You can slide along the ground, which makes you go a little bit faster like that. It also allows you to jump further. And I didn't find out that that was important until much later, and there you go, I ended up sliding into a pit. That's not very good. And you can also slam down. That's very important to know. I didn't know that you could do that until I looked up some videos on the internet to get an idea of what I was supposed to do. One thing about these collections is that they don't include any instructions, and unlike games for the Wii U, they don't have built-in instructions for you to look at. So I often wonder how people are really supposed to know what they're supposed to do or what their moveset is. Are they just supposed to magically know how to do that, or should they have already played the original games and that's how they know, or are they forced to look it up online? Maybe someone can tell me about that, because none of my Xbox One games include instructions. So perhaps there is a place that you can go to get the instructions for those games, but I don't know what it is, at least not now. So, oh no, I've I fell down. Go boo. I'm not gonna bother getting all of these boxes. I'm just gonna fall down the same hole again. Yay, look at me go. So this game continues on the tradition from the previous one, where you have these 2.5D scrolling levels. You have running towards the screen, running away from the screen. So the same, pretty much. The new move set does make things a little bit more interesting. The levels are obviously, the hub levels are a little bit different. Seems that you don't have as many levels per world as in the previous game. And at this point, I'm not sure if the overall number of levels has increased or if it's roughly the same. I'm still working my way through this game. Ah, a bonus area. Get some apples, because an apple a day keeps the witch doctor away. So to me, this level feels slightly longer than the ones from Crash Bandicoot did. However, I'm almost at the end of this level, or am I? We shall see. Am I? No, I'm at the last checkpoint. I wonder if this is, if this level was inspired at all by Super Mario Brothers, given that there's mushrooms and turtles. I have a feeling it was. And as you can see, the pits go in angles in this game, whereas in the previous game they were pretty much all vertical, I guess. Well, it depends on which way you're running, which yeah. But in this one they can go on angles, so you can it makes them harder to avoid. Let me go up. So each area has its own levels, and compared to the previous games, so far it seems like there's not as many levels per world or level, or I don't know what you would call these. Hub levels? So for Crash Bandicoot 2, in this collection, I shall give it a 9 out of 10 moose. Why a 9 out of 10 moose? Well, because you got extra moves, you got different environments. I think you have more variety of enemies as far as I can tell. It does seem to be a little bit more difficult, so in that respect it gives more of a challenge to people who are experienced with games, such as me. I'm not the best at this game, but I feel that my experience with previous games does give me a bit of a leg up. And the environments and bosses all tend to be very inventive. And by the way, I really like this bonus level. I really like the way that it looks. So after I'm done with this level, I shall go to the third game. I want to try to keep my review under 30 minutes, unlike my previous video, which went exactly 30 minutes. We'll see how long it takes. As I said, these are unscripted reviews, so I don't have any set amount of time that I will be talking about the game. Oops. Hey, boxes. What's in the box? What's in the box? Rats. Nitro boxes. I think that's a new thing for this game. I could be wrong. They might have shown up in the first one. I can't recall at this moment. I know TNT boxes were part of the first one. Okay, time to get out of here. And I shall go on to the third game. Okay, third game. So the third game continues more of the same. However, there are new things for you to do. Oh, by the way, there's an extra level in Crash Bandicoot. There's also an extra level in Warped. I'll see if I can fit those in. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the time here. Okay, so let me go into something different here. Here's an underwater level. Maybe I'll start with that one. If it takes too long, I'll quit out of it and go into a different level. So this level, you got the swimming mechanics, of course. Typically in games, the swimming sections tend to be the most difficult. However, I find that in this game, the swimming sections are enjoyable. They're not needlessly difficult. They're pretty much the same as the normal levels, except that you swim. This particular level also reminds me of a level in Earthworm Jim, of all things, which I think was an underwater level as well, except that you were inside some sort of underwater city type thing, so you were not swimming around. And here we go, we got a vehicle. That's something new. You can shoot off missiles, which makes destroying things easier. You can also destroy these darn, I forget the name of it. Coral, that's what it's called. Coral. I might be able to make it to the end of this level, and then I can show off one more. Looking at the time here, I'm not sure if I have enough time, so I'm going to quit out. Like I said, I want to keep this review under a half an hour. And I do want to show off one more level here. Where is it? No, not Boneyard. Making waves, that's it. So in this level I'm playing as Coco. I'm on a skidoo type thing. And I get to go off ramps. So I like that this is gives more variety to the game. You can backtrack if you want, which is nice. You can do that in all the levels. You can backtrack, but in this level it seems to make a little bit more sense, I guess, because you're on water. I don't know what I'm talking about. But overall this game has more variety, more different environments, got different bosses as per usual. Very creative. It does have a bit of a sense of humor to itself. It's obviously not taking itself super seriously. So for Crash Bandicoot 3, out of 10 moose, I'm going to give this one 9 moose? No, 9, sorry, 9.5 moose, because the graphics are good. In this updated version, I like the variety. I like the fact that I keep dying over and over and over again. Oh, I actually don't like that. I don't like that at all. But overall, it seems like a decent upgrade to the formula the previous two games set out. And I have to avoid these bombs. Avoid the bombs. Okay, so exit out of here, and I'll go ahead and I'll show off the extra level. I think that the extra level might have been something that wasn't included in the original game. This level is relatively hard, I will say that. This was the level that I had to look up what I was supposed to do, because I didn't know that you could slide and jump, making you jump further. It is absolutely necessary for some of the jumps here. Whoops, this is one of them. I would have fallen off the edge there if I had not run or slid and jumped. Ooh. And I died. That was not so good. Okay, so I only have a few more minutes here. I'm going to quit out and go back to the original Crash Bandicoot and show off the extra level there. It does look as though I'm going to go a little bit over a half an hour. That's okay, I suppose. I'm the only one imposing this arbitrary time limit. I do like the fact that you can quit out of the games and go back to this main menu. In some of the PlayStation 3 games, game collections that is, you would actually have to quit out of the entire game and load it up again to select a new game. For example, Eco Shadow of Colossus collection. I think it also does that for Prince of Persia Sands of Time, or well, the Prince of Persia collection. Okay, here we go. Extra level. This level does seem to be pretty tricky. It's a vertical level. Got some environmental stuff going on here with the rain. So at this point I'm going to give my score for the overall collection. So overall, for all of these games, for this particular collection, I shall give it a 9.5 out of 10 moose. And the reason for that is because, like I said, I feel that they could have pushed the graphics a little bit more. I feel like there could have been a few more options to give players. Could have updated a few things, allow you to change the buttons for the controls. I'm not doing very well right now, by the way, if that's not obvious. So as I was saying, overall, this Crash Bandicoot has been a good buy for me. I'm glad that I bought this collection. I don't see any need for me to go back and buy the original games. Oh, something that I thought of today that would have been interesting. A lot of, well, maybe not a lot, but a few games that have been re-released and gotten an HD update have given the option of going to the retro graphics and to the high definition graphics on the fly. So that would have been something that they could have put in. They could have allowed you to switch to the original graphics. Sure, update them to high definition, but at least give you the option of having the original look of the games. I can't imagine it would take up much space. But these games, I don't think that I missed out too much, but I'm glad that I have this collection. So I am now at 32 minutes, almost 33 minutes. So I'll go ahead and end the review here. And stay tuned for more reviews. I don't have any reviews coming up at this point. I don't really have anything, but I do have some Let's Plays that I've already recorded, so it's just a matter of when I'm going to release them. So at this point, I'll end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. This has been a Yesterday's Moose production, and I'll see you next time.